Hi guys, in this video I'm going to share with you the makeup mistakes you could be making on your mature skin with hooded, downturned eyes, wrinkles and just aging skin. This is a makeup tutorial showing those makeup mistakes that we could be making and how we can tweak those techniques to show a more youthful makeup look. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ange and I like to share all things beauty and lifestyle aimed at the more mature woman as I navigate my more mature years. If that sounds like content you would be interested in, I highly recommend you subscribe to my channel. I upload videos on a weekly basis, and as I said, I like to share all things that is relatable to the mature over 50 woman. In this video, I am going to take you through the do's and don'ts of makeup, the mistakes we could be making with our makeup that do not enhance our natural features, and showing you ways that you can tweak those makeup techniques to make the most of our features when applying makeup. I do hope that you find these tips helpful. I have done a full face of the things that are not the most complementary to a mature face, and then I have created this makeup look using techniques that just might enhance and help you look your best as a mature woman. So if that sounds like you, just keep watching and let's get into those tips. So for any makeup look on mature skin, it is very important that you prep your skin, that you've moisturized and everything has settled in, and that you have used your sunscreen. Sunscreen is the most important skincare product you can use in your quest for anti-aging. It protects you from UV rays which cause skin damage and aging of your skin, so you should wear sunscreen every day, rain, hail, shine, whether you're planning on going outside or not. Just make it become a habit as the last step in your skincare routine. Now for me, priming is also a very important part of my makeup. I have textured skin, I have oily combo skin, so my makeup can slide and can settle into fine lines and wrinkles. So for me, priming is very important, and I'm going to use the One Size Secure the Blur Makeup Magnet Primer. I'm really enjoying this, and I really do think it's taken the top spot for my favourite primers. It's a lotion type primer, so it's like a moisturiser, and it really does help the longevity of my makeup and just preps the skin for the following steps. For me, I also like using this under eye primer by Becca. Now it's not going to be available from September of this year. I have got a few backups because I really like it. It really helps my under eye situation, and I just pop that under my eye, ready for makeup application. Okay, so I am applying my foundation, and at this time the foundation I'm using is the Too Faced Peach Perfect, and I feel is the right colour for my skin in its winter stage. Choosing the correct colour of foundation is really important. You're wanting it to look more natural. It needs to be the right colour for your skin, not too light, not too dark. We are just trying to enhance the skin we've already got. And I like using a beauty blender because it just seamlessly blends the foundation in for me. And you're wanting to make sure it's blended in around the neckline so that you have no demarcation. I do have melasma here, so I do just need to be aware of that and blending that in. Foundation is subjective to what you need for your skin needs. I like something with a little coverage to try and tackle my pigmentation issues. Discoloration is indicative of sun damage, and it's something I wasn't proactive about in my younger years. Now, concealer, you want to go for something as close to your skin colour as possible. You don't want to be using a too light a concealer. It's just going to draw attention. It doesn't look natural, and you also don't want to apply heaps of concealer the way that a lot of influencers use concealer, where they just do this whole big triangle. When you are more mature, less is best, because the more concealer that you are going to use, the more risk you have of that concealer settling into your fine lines and wrinkles and just making you look a lot more older than you need to look. I'm using the Mcgrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Concealer. Now, I really didn't like this when I first got it, but it was because I was using too much. So I like to put a dot there, a dot here, because I have got colour discoloration on the outer corner of my eye, and I might just put a little bit there because I have darkness under my eye. Can you believe I cannot find my normal blending brush for my concealer? So I'm going in with this little La Prairie brush that came with my foundation concealer and just blending that under the eye. And why I have to do a brush with this eye is that I have to be very aware of getting product near my tear duct. My eye just waters terribly, so I like using a brush, and then I blend it in at the end with my beauty sponge to just try and make it seamless and not too noticeable. I don't want it to look like I am wearing a different coloured concealer under my eyes. So a dot there, and in the outer. And in this eye I can use my sponge because I don't water the same. So if it gets near my eye, it's not an issue, but it is on that eye. And just blending that in. Now I do set my under eye. I use the Hourglass diffused light, and I just go in very lightly and tap that under my eye. And set it. I'm now going to go in with setting powder. I like a setting powder because, as I said, I have oily combo skin. I take my beauty sponge after using it and I press in the powder. Now, I know this is a lot of powder for a lot of mature women, and if you have dry skin, this is not how I would recommend you do your powder. If you have dry skin and you are mature, I would highly recommend you take, and I will show you once I've finished this, I need to use this amount of powder because of my oily skin, and it just does slide away during the day if I do not set it. So what I would recommend if you have dry skin is dip into a loose setting powder and just powder where you need to very lightly. not using a lot of powder so that you don't accentuate lines, wrinkles and dry skin. So that's how I would do it. With brows, you do want to enhance your brows. I think a brow is very important in the structure of your face when you are doing your makeup, but you want to try and keep your brows as natural as possible, to not make them too harsh, but you want them to be soft. Now I'm finding my favourite eyebrow pencil at the moment is the Dior Show Brow Styler, and it's because of the colour. It's not the most affordable brow product, but as far as colour goes, it's really, really good. And another tip for mature skin is to not drag or shape your brow in a downward shape. That is going to enhance a downturned eye. It's going to give the illusion of a sad eye. We want to lift everything and look more youthful. So I'm lucky enough, I've had my brows microbladed, so I sort of have a shape in easy for me to follow, but I want to keep it along this line and not dragging it down, and trying to do little hair-like strokes. And if it looks a little bit heavy, going in with your spoolie and brushing it out. If you are lucky enough to have fabulous brows, you might get away with just a bit of brow gel and grooming your brows. Now I'm going to use the same products I used in my not so flash makeup look to show that you can use exactly the same products, but your technique and how you apply them can make a huge difference. So when it comes to contour, I like using a contour because I have a fuller face, and I just tap my contour from the top of my ear and literally just this far in, just to give a little bit of dimension and shape to my face, and I just tap that in so that it is not a harsh line, but it is soft. When it comes to contouring the nose, I like to use an eyeshadow brush, and I go from this hollow in the eye socket to the brow and just come down. Now you don't need to contour your nose. I do because I have a wider nose, and I just am by no means an expert at contouring my nose. So many people are just amazing at shaping and slimming their nose with contouring. I am not. I just know that I need some sort of shading on my nose. And the whole thing with makeup and having it appear more natural is blending. So I am now going to go in with a different brush, and I'm just going to clean brush, but just softening that line down my nose. Now I can smell the vinegar in this from cleaning it. And we will fix that up with a little bit of baking soon. So that's the nose contour. This is the Becca, Chloe and Malika face palette. Now the colours are a little bit deep for me at this time of the year, but I'm going to show you how you can still use them and just go in with a light hand and blending. So taking the bronzer, we're just going to go above that area where we contoured and just lightly add bronzer on the cheekbone. I like putting bronzer on my forehead because I have, as I said, a fuller face, and I just like popping a bit of colour up here. I think it just finishes off the face and balances everything. But the key to it is blending it so that it is just a shading and not big patches of colour. So we've used exactly the same bronzer. We've just gone in with a lighter hand and softly blended that. Now we're going to go in with the same blush and we're going to place it differently. Now, as you'll see in the other clip, I did the blush in the old way of how we were taught to do our blush, and that is to smile, pop it on the apples of the cheeks, and that's where you place your blush. Unfortunately, as you can see in the other clip, when you do that and you are a mature chick, when you smile, it's all well and good putting the blush there, but when you stop smiling, your blush is halfway down your face. So here's your apple of your cheek smiling, and then it drops down here, and we don't want our blush down here. So taking exactly the same shades but being lighter handed, so they are a bit brighter, but being lighter handed, tapping off the brush, we're going to dab and tap on the cheekbone higher up and back more. So not at the front and not down. We're wanting to give our face the illusion of uplifting. We don't want it dropping down to our knees. Now I like blush, so I am just adding and blending, and I'm going to show you how you can rectify this if it is too much. Going back in with your beauty sponge or foundation brush, however you applied your foundation. If you think it's a bit bright, we can just go in there and blend away to soften it. So nothing is a disaster. We can fix it. I'm going to address this soon. Now I personally really like a highlight, so I'm going to use the highlight in this palette, and we are going to pop that in the top high points. I just like it because I do mattify my foundation down because of my oily combo skin. This is how I can bring a little bit of life and luminosity back into my makeup look. And I just like to add that on top of the blush like so, and I'm going to add a little bit to the tip of my nose shortly, but after I fixed up that contour. Now we're going to use exactly the same eyeshadows that I used before, and I'm using my Kevin Kwan little book of goodies here. But something that I think is really important for a mature eye is priming the eyes. For me, priming the eyes is super important. I have a hooded, downturned eye, and if I don't prime, I can get a crease in my eyeshadow and it just looks really like I haven't given a toss about my makeup, and it just looks shoddy. So I like to prime my eyes. Also, it just gives me a really good base for my shadows. Now today I'm using the NARS Soft Matte Concealer, and I am just using that. I have the Anastasia eye primer as well. I really like that if I'm using glitters, but we're just using mattes today. Maybe a little bit of shimmer, maybe today in this one. And I just like to lightly pop that on my eye. And then I do like to set that with a powder, and I'm going to use the same powder that I used to set my under eye, and I'm just going to sweep that over. Going in with the eyeshadows, I'm actually going to take the sculpting powder with a Morphe M504. We're just going to go in this socket line. Now it is a little bit darker than what I would normally use in a transition area, but I'm wanting to use the same palette to show you the difference in how we apply shade and where we place it and how we blend it makes a difference to, and that by not swapping up palettes that you get confused and thinking it's more about the colours I've used rather than how I've applied them. So we're doing the socket line up here. I do have another video explaining how to make the most of a aging downturned hooded eye, and I will leave a link to that here if you're wanting a more in-depth video on enhancing a hooded eye. And so we're using a deeper shade in this area, not a light shade. If you use a light shade, it's going to bring out that hooded area of my eye and make it protrude or appear protruding. By adding a deeper or slightly darker shade, just a 1 or 2 shades darker than your skin tone's really good, it just recedes that area, and we just want to blend and make that really soft. So hopefully here between the two clips you can see the difference in using a light shade where it brings out that hood and using this darker shade where hopefully it is showing you that it recedes. Now going in with this mahogany shade here, I am going to tap that in the outer corner, going up and just tapping and adding colour, not swiping. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it under my eye in this outer third and follow that line or shape of the under eye and follow it up here to just elongate the eye. And there goes my watery eye. See what happens when I get the watery eye, I get this patching. So back to tapping. And that fills that gap. If I was to swipe, it would just go over that gap. So following that line that we've done in the outer corner, tap, 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 bringing it up. We're going to take a small shader brush from Morphe, an M506, and I'm just going to start blending that there. Now I'm going to take my mirror, put it in front of me. I'm taking that Makeup Geek Out of V brush. I'm wanting to add some colour above my crease so that when I'm looking forward you can see the dark colour and it doesn't get lost in my hood. So all the while tapping this in, I'm not swiping, I'm slowly adding that colour across with my tap motions, and that's how I'm adding the colour. And I'm not really worrying about the shape and how it's looking at the moment because we're going to blend that and soften it out. So that's how on my hooded eye the outer V looks like, which is not an outer V. It is quite large because I've got a large hood area to contend with. Then going back with the little blending brush, the 506, I'm going to start blending that inwards and blending the edges, flicking it up and out of that as well. So that it makes my eye look up and out. And just blending. I'm not adding any more colour. Just blending, blending, blending. And just softening that up. Okay, and then we can go in with our first blending brush and just make sure all our edges are blended and soft on the top there, and we're going to leave it at that. Then I'm going to take a flat shader brush and I'm going to go in with the Starlight shade, which is the shade we used in our actual crease line in the previous clip. Now this is showing you a difference of placement of colour, and so I used this colour in the previous look, but here we're using it on our eyelid to create more space on our eyelid rather than our hood. I always like to go back in with my blending brush and just soften any lines. Okay, now when it comes to liner, softer is better. Today I'm going to use the One Size Beauty Busty Brown, and I am just going to add this to my upper waterline, so I'm tight lining it. And that is the only liner that I'm going to use, just to keep it soft and simple. Now, if you are lucky enough to have beautiful lashes, curling your eyelashes makes a huge difference. So we will curl them. I'm not going to get very much of a dramatic look with this. I'm taking some mascara. Adding mascara just opens that eye a little bit. Now I'm going to add lashes because lashes make a huge difference to my eye makeup look and just opens up my eye even more. While I'm going to be doing that, I'm going to show you how I'm going to rectify this on my nose. I'm taking a loose translucent powder, my sponge, my beauty sponge, and I'm just going to pop a bit of translucent powder here, and this is going to help soften up that line that I've done with the contour, because it is a little bit harsh, and when you're trying to look your best as a mature woman, harsh is not a good look for us. So I'm just going to do this as well. This is optional, but this just helps clean up any demarcation lines in contour and bronzer. And I'm going to hop off and apply my lashes. Okay, while we're waiting for the lash glue to dry, I'm going to go in with a powder brush and I'm just brushing away that powder, and I'm taking it up and it helps blend out our other bits and pieces as well. So that just softens any harsh lines that we have. And then, because my lash hasn't dried, it's popped up, so let's fix that. Now we're going to finish off with the lips. Now, a more youthful way of doing your lips other than a very, very pale matte shade or a very bright or dark shade that can be aging. Don't get me wrong, beautiful bright lips and a nude shade can look very, very attractive. How I've done it in this look is that I've gone really bold, but I've gone bold with the rest of my makeup. It's just too heavy. It's just too harsh on a mature skin. We want to be soft. If we're wanting to look the best, we can still wear those bright colours. We just have to wear them in a different way. So I'm going to show you using exactly the same lip liner, which was quite dark. So that's the lip liner, quite dark. But how I'm going to tone it down is going back with my beauty blender and just softening that shade. Now, rather than a bright or deep or dark matte shade, I'm going to go for a lip gloss. I don't know where the video stopped and finished. I have added a really nice neutral gloss. I used the Fenty Glow Fussy, and a glossy lip is a lot more softer and is just more youthful than a matte lip in a dark colour. Of course, I wear my matte lipsticks, I wear my bright lipsticks, I just tweak my makeup a little bit differently, but a glossy lip is very youthful. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you can see from these clips I've used the same products. I did use a different foundation because it is super important to make sure that you use a foundation that is the correct shade. So I used a different foundation, I've used the same powder, I used a different concealer using a correct colour, but as far as the bronzer, blush, eyeshadows, etc., I have used the same products. My brow products were different too. But I hope you enjoyed that and got to see how you can enhance and the differences you can make to just appear more youthful as a mature woman, and some of the makeup techniques that you could be using that don't make the most of your mature features. If you enjoyed that, guys, I'd really appreciate it if you'd let me know down in the comments below. Give the video a thumbs up so that I know you like this sort of content. Also, down below in the comments, I'd really like to know other videos you would like to see from me, and I would be really happy to film those for you. I hope you've all had a beautiful and a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. See you later, guys. Bye.